Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the Captain's Chat. My name is Joe Delagrave, and today I'm going to be joined by Chris Cook, who is a Hall of Famer in the United States Quad Rugby Association. Been playing this sport for pretty much as long as I've been alive. I think maybe a couple years more than that. Who knows? But he is an avid Bay Area sports fan. Been in the game a long time with wheelchair rugby, and so I'm just really excited to kind of talk to one of our legends of the sport, and that's been around a long time. And I think a lot of times we were talking a little bit before this, and a lot of times you see an old guy in the court, and you're kind of going, "Oh, who's a schmuck?" And like, you never know what they've been through, what they've accomplished. And so I think it's just kind of a neat experience to be able to talk to him, talk to what he's done in the sport, talk about how the sport of wheelchair rugby has come along. So without any further babbling from me, as always, please send us your questions, send us your comments, and we'd love to correspond and have a conversation with you guys today as well. So Chris Cook, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Cookie, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing really well. We've got the sun in Wisconsin. It's the dead of summer, so we're finally getting some hot, muggy weather, which I love. So yeah,
we're getting a little warmth out here too in the bay. It's actually pretty still. I'm on my mom's backyard. You can see the trees behind us.
Yeah, you got
there's no wind, nothing. It's going to be hot again today.
You got a nice backdrop. It's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, got some good vegetation behind you and everything. So yeah, well, I mean, what's been going on with your life? Like with
Well, let's start with this. I was teaching pretty regularly up until COVID, and I moved back in with my mom about a year and a half ago. She's got Alzheimer's, and it was really clear she couldn't live alone anymore. So I was pretty much teaching a mile and a half from where I grew up. And it's kind of because I live really about an hour and a half away. But it's been good to be back. We started teaching remotely and wasn't really into it. The kids certainly weren't into it. I had sixth graders, and they wanted to do anything other than, be on a computer and listen to somebody, giving them directions. My mom's been sheltered in place for 2 years, so this is nothing new. But other than that, just as you know, we shut down no nationals, and I was back on the court, and I was actually in shape for the first time in many years, and it felt good. And so I've tried to continue to work out, but that's really about it.
Yeah. I mean, with everything being shut down and everything like that, and then you kind of figuring out how to entertain sixth graders on a computer, which good luck with that one. And then
right,
it sounds like you've been busy though. Like it's been a busy period. So have you had a chance to sit and reflect on this time at all? I know a lot of people have. Like what's something you've learned during COVID? Like what hobby have you picked up? What have you reflected on? Have you learned anything about yourself? Like what's that been like for you?
Well, I'm undiagnosed ADHD, first of all. So I'm always thinking about everything. But with that said, being back here in the house I grew up in after being away over 35 years, it's kind of crazy, and connecting with friends that I went to high school with, and Facebook has kind of done that too. But in reflection, trying to be more patient, I think. I'm managing 4 caregivers for my mom. She needs help pretty much 12 hours a day now, and I took up harmonica, and I've been jamming on the weekends with some high school friends, actually one of which I've known since kindergarten. He's a real musician. And they tolerate me hanging and learning and jamming on Saturday nights with social distancing, of course. So that's been fun. I've been watching a lot of old movies. But other than that, my job is here with my mom right now. So
yeah, A lot of honor in that. Absolutely. Um, so let's get to it. I mean, you've been playing this sport for a long, long time. There's a lot of
Wait,
guys.
what year were you born, Joe?
85 is when I was
Okay.
born.
You were
What
three
year?
when I started playing.
Okay, so 1988. It is now 2020. And he put a little wheelchair rugby in 2020. I don't know if we're playing any more wheelchair rugby for the entire year. Doesn't look like it, that's for sure.
Right.
But what, like, I mean, there's a lot of like back then and now, but then it's like a smooth kind of like rise as well, of the sport, from an equipment standpoint, from a playing standpoint, from a rules standpoint. Like, what are the top take? I know this is maybe a loaded question and you can unpack it, but what are the top takeaways on like the evolution of the sport?
There's so much. Well, I've told the story many times. I actually got hurt playing rugby, and in 1980, and I was yearning for a sport. I was an athlete my whole life, and
how old were you when you got hurt?
18.
18.
Almost
Okay.
a week short of 19.
Yeah.
And so I'm a freshman in college. I go back to school. Like, what am I going to do now? I tried swimming. Let's call it drowning. I call my swimming career, try to keep my head up above the water. It didn't work. I didn't like it at all. Track and field a little bit. I'm slow. It just, nothing was a good fit.
Yeah.
My big sport back then was going to a bar and playing pool. And so that was, get my competitive juices going. And then wheelchair rugby drops into my lap. I went on a river rafting trip, and I met some people at the Bay Area Outreach Program, BORP, in Berkeley. And one of the women that was running the show over there, Bonnie Lukowitz, she called me. This is like 4 years later, and she had seen wheelchair rugby at a demonstration, I think in Houston, and brought it back to the Bay Area. She and Rick Mason. And shout out to Rick. He's had some health issues. Hope you're doing well, Rick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so she called me. This before the internet. So she had to like go in phone books and look up my name. And she calls me and she says, we're starting a wheelchair rugby team. Would you like to come out and join us? And my first thought was, wheelchair rugby? How are you going to play, how those chairs moving around on grass? No, we play on a basketball court. Oh, so I came and perfect fit. I loved it from the get-go.
Yeah.
So like we were talking about, I was basically playing in my everyday chair, and pretty much everyone was. It's the only choice we had. We would fold the brakes underneath so your hands didn't hit them when you were pushing.
You didn't catch your thumbs and
right.
Yeah.
We'd put surgical tubing on the rims so that we could start and stop a little faster.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a bit primitive, if you will, but it was fun. And we'd also put extra washers in so we could camber the wheels out, turn a little bit faster. But within a couple of years, the chairs changed dramatically.
Yeah. Who was the first manufacturer to come out with?
That's a good question. I want to say probably Eagle, Barry Ewing, or possibly Top End, Chris Peterson. Pretty much right after that was Quickie. They made the shadow chairs, I think they called them. Barry's still around and doing his thing with Eagle, but Top End's not making rugby chairs anymore. Vesco and Melrose came about. But I would say in that era between like 88 and 92, 93, everything changed. The classification system changed, went from 3, 2, and 1, like track, or 1A, 1B, 1C. That's how they used to call it in track, to 0.5 through 3.5. And that changed my whole deal. I was a 1, and, I was mediocre at best because I just didn't have the function those guys had. I worked hard, but still, I was playing against guys with a full trunk because as ones, because that wasn't considered yet.
Well, do you think? Let me kind of veer it a little bit. Like, do you think, as far as from that era all the way up through now, and like the chairs have changed and the rules, like, the shot clock came in about only 10, 12 years ago, and then and the classification, like you're explaining, changed as well. Like, to get the sport from where it was in the grassroots of Canada and then into the United States, what's been the most important aspect of it? Is it chairs? Is it the rules? Is it kind of like, what do you think?
I'll just throw the two out there I was just talking about. Definitely the classifications, a more equitable system that was more inclusive for different amount of function, etc. And chairs, absolutely chairs. Chairs equalized everything.
Yeah.
Once those rules stabilized, and as you can imagine, well, for instance, the picker and the wings, huge.
Yeah.
So the first picker was actually invented pretty much to protect my feet, because I kept getting run over. You got big feet, right, Joe? Me too.
Yeah.
And I just kept, dealing with toenails and blah, 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 blah. And so my dad, who was an engineer and had a background as a machinist and, innovations and so forth, said, well, why don't we take that foot bar and put like a face mask in front of it? So he took another foot bar, or, the thing you drop your feet into, and, if you will, turn it into a football face mask in front. And so suddenly my feet are protected. And the next thing you know, I'm at practice going, whoa, I can hold people with this thing. And then that evolved into sort of the picker we have now.
From a face mask on a football helmet, to a picker we have now. Like,
it's just an analogy, but
but yeah, exactly. But and I think like today's players probably, we take a little bit of the innovation and creativity for granted, because it's given to us now. Like, we got guys like Vesco that are constantly innovating things. Melrose has a great company as well that's constantly like, you guys were doing that from a day-to-day basis in practice, going, hey, okay, I found something else. Like,
check this. In our living room, Nils Jorgensen and Alan Seals, both members of Quadzilla back then, we did the picker we just talked about. Al took a garbage can lid and put it inside of his wheel and put zip ties on it. And that was the first, well, maybe not the first, but that was essentially a spoke protector, a spoke guard.
Yeah.
And we used to call it the Dim Street Laboratories, because I lived on Dim Street. And these guys were hanging out like 4 or 5 days a week, just talking rugby, thinking about what advancements can we make to get an edge.
Yeah. And
there were no rules then that said we couldn't do any of that. The rules came about after the innovations, because they were trying to equalize everything.
It's funny to look back at some of the pictures and you see wings. I'm like, those wings are up to his head. Like, what is going on here? But a quick question on the classification, because I think it's a good it's probably not looked at that much, because first classification was like ABC, right? You're either an A, B, or C. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Right.
1, 2, 3. And then all of a sudden, from the switch from that to 0.51, 1.52, basically splitting all those in half and creating, man, you're just going hat change, creating twice as many categories to fit in the different kinds of disability. How huge was that for this sport? How huge was that for the equal playing field for levels of disability?
Absolutely. You probably don't know this, or maybe you heard about it, but there was a movement in the early 90s to make wheelchair rugby.
Chris, hold on. You've been playing since 1988. You saying you probably don't know this. It's probably true because that's a long time. But anyway,
you may have heard about this because it came up at the AGM. There was a movement to make wheelchair rugby spinal cord injury only, and I'm really glad that didn't happen because think about all the people that would have been excluded, and yet, we call them freaks, right? Back in the day, the first freaks were, for instance, Steve Pate, Guillain-Barré, Joe Soros was polio, Angelo Monjovi, polio. We had some different stuff out there, and it made the game more interesting, made it faster, more function. But that classification system change, I'll throw out this name, Anne-Marie Glenn and Diane Bulger, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. But the folks that wrote all that stuff, it changed the whole deal.
Yeah.
I went from a 1 to a 0.5. I remember we were doing these classifications at Best of the West in San Diego in a hotel room. And there's a long line. People are coming out of the room crying. Like, what? I just went up a full point. Yeah. And I went down a half a point. It changed my world.
Yeah. Because you can go into the room as a 1.
Right.
And go up to a 2 easily.
It happened.
Right. Yeah.
It happened.
That's crazy. Wow.
Well, I went in the room and came out of 0.5.
I mean, hey.
And suddenly I was thinking USA.
You came out of the room high-fiving everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think this is a great question. Actually, you know what? Let's save that question for after our first game. I think we're ready for a game. Let's You
ready to play a game?
We're ready. So we're going to do this things a little differently. Chris has a game for me to play.
And everybody out there.
Okay.
Joe, you're the only one that'll be judged, but everyone out there gets to play.
I am always judged. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. When you were doing the show with Chad Cohn, I posted a picture of Michael Strahan, and I said, "Oh, look, that's you, Joe. You're the gap-toothed interviewer."
Yeah.
And you came back with gap tooth forever.
Yep.
And I started thinking about it, and I created a little game. You guys know I'm a teacher, and so this is kind of the stuff I do. So here we go.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Can you see that? It says gap
tooth forever. Okay.
Quiz. So
gap tooth
number
forever.
1, it's going to be a 2-part deal.
Okay.
Number 1, can you guys see that well?
I need it closer. I need it closer.
Hang on. Let me get closer then.
Ooh, I know one of these already. This is a fun game, man.
Well, we're bringing the fun, okay?
Okay.
So let's go like that. Is that better?
Oh, yeah, that's money.
Okay. Number 1, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a hint.
Yeah.
We got a comedian and actress. So fire away if you think you know who it is. Number 2. I'm going to go through this.
Move. Okay, move over to number 2.
Number 2. Can you see that okay? Number 2 is, this is from memory right now, is a bodybuilder, a actor.
Oh, yeah.
And
move it over to your, I can still see in 1. Can't see 2. I know, it's hard. We're quads, hey.
Hang on, brother. Hang on. I see what you're saying.
Over. Yeah. There we go. Oh, 2. I know that guy.
Bodybuilder.
Yep.
And actor and politician.
Yep. No him. That's Arnold.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Number 3. By the way, he had his gap fixed. What a loser, huh?
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Nah, just be who God made you. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is an athlete. Can you see it okay?
No, get up close. Yeah. Just move it straight ahead.
It's an athlete and a media personality.
Okay. That one's dark. I can't see that one very well.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Help me. That's all right.
Okay. Doesn't help much. I have no grip.
Yeah.
You know what? You know
Hey,
what? Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can do it this way.
I know number 4. That's for
Number
sure.
4. Yeah, you better know 4.
Yeah,
I
Eddie
better.
Murray.
Number 4 is comedian and actor. Number 5 is this way. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
Is
Strahan.
yeah, there you
Strahan.
go. I
Yeah.
didn't have to tell you.
Yeah.
You're doing pretty well at this, Joe.
Yeah.
Number 6 is a singer and actress.
Ooh. Huh.
Pretty smile, huh?
Great smile. Great
All
smile.
right.
Great
Keeping
gap.
going. Number 7. Oh, if you get this one, I'll be impressed.
I don't know
This
that
is
one.
my
Is
this is
she
my
from the
10.
70s?
Oh, you're good. This is my 10-year-old childhood crush. She's an actress and model.
Farrah Fawcett? Did she have a
No,
gap? No, I didn't think so.
no. Think even older than that, believe it or not.
Lucille Ball? I
No,
don't
that
know.
would be a big no. Number 8. Am I on the right one?
Yep, you're on the right one.
Number 8. That's a boxer who likes to bite ears.
Hey, I just want to feed my pigeons. I just want to feed pigeons.
That's not bad, Joe. That's pretty good. Number 9. Singer.
Is that
and-
Adele? Is that Adele right
No.
there? Does Adele have a gap? She fixed her gap.
Singer and actress.
Okay.
And number 10 is a singer as well.
Ooh. Help me out with 9 and 10.
Okay. Now we're going to go
Okay.
speed round.
All right.
Speed round. Number 1.
Whoopi. Whoopi.
Got it? Number 2. You already got this one.
Arnold.
Arnold. Easy, right?
Get back to the chopper.
Number 3 is the one that was kind of dark.
Oh, number 3. Wait. That was. Are you kidding me? Yeah. That's awesome. I couldn't get
Gotcha.
myself right. Couldn't get myself right.
You got to smile bigger, brother. Number 4, you nailed it.
Number 4. Slide it over. Yep.
Eddie. I just watched 48 Hours
Welcome
last
to
night.
America.
Hilarious. Number 5, you already got that one.
Yep. Strahan.
Yep. All right. Oh, shoot.
He just owns it, man.
Who's
Owns
that?
it. Strahan.
Yeah, he's good. Although I'm finding out from some friends, oh, we got a problem here.
Uh-oh.
This game might be over.
Did she
I
jump
think-
the right to the picture? Number
I
10 was Madonna, right? Number 10 was Madonna?
9.
Number 9 was Madonna.
9 was Madonna.
9 was Madonna. Okay.
All right. Unfortunately, one of them just went over the balcony.
All right. Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one went. What? Yeah. I get that one.
I think I can save her. It was my childhood crush.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, who was that one? Who was the childhood crush?
That was Lauren Hutton.
I don't even know that name.
I
Love it
saved
though.
her.
Love it.
I saved her.
You can get
Look
the
her
post-
up. She's in her 70s now. She's a beauty.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, look at her. Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
All right. I'm guessing people are getting bored with this.
That was amazing. That was great.
Okay. Wait. Do you know
Point.
this one? This is your demographic, Joe. Come on.
Let's see. Turn right there.
You got it?
No, I don't know it.
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
She got her fixed too.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she got her fixed.
I had some help with that.
Yeah.
One of my former students said, "This is what you should do. Include these people from this era." I'm like, all right.
Oh, that was
Okay.
that was awesome. That was
All right, I'm
fantastic.
done.
Oh,
How'd they do? How'd you guys do in the audience?
audience wasn't bad. I think everyone had a little trouble with 9 and 10. No, some people got 10 good. Mention gives this game 4.5 gaps. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay, I feel like I'm in NASCAR. It's hat change time again.
Hat change. All right, if you're changing hats, we're changing subjects. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's get back to our question, which I think is great. And so we talk a lot about this, like mentoring, people have an impact on my career. Whether it's Scott and Nick Springer that first got me kind of involved, and then Gumby when he was the first. Gumby, Norm, and Brian Kirkland were at the first camp that I went, or not camp, but clinic that I went to, and so they were there, and Big Joe was just snailing up and down the court. But for you, like, I mean, who are those athletes for you? Who you kind of share with some people that got you involved early on in your career in the sport, but who are those people for you? Or maybe it's people outside of rugby that have impacted you, as a teacher or whatever it be.
It's been a lot of folks actually. I'm going to start with my dad. Super competitive guy, and he was a race car driver, and he got me involved in quarter midget racing when I was 6.
Okay.
And I raced for 11 years, and we won 2 nationals, and he challenged me always. He said, I'm an only child, so it wasn't like I had brothers and sisters I was out shooting hoops with. My old man had polio, and I'm pretty proud of this about him. He played both ways in high school football with polio.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah, he was a nose guard. He basically just was wrestling. He was a center and a nose guard.
Okay.
And but as far as rugby mentorship, Brad Mickelson for sure.
Yeah.
He was the one.
Yeah.
And Dom Clemis from Minnesota, definitely. Locally, Scott Hagar. He passed a few years ago. Rest in peace. Bonnie Lukowitz for sure. She was faster than me my first year. I was like, we can't let that go on. So I would work harder. And our whole team, we just started from nothing. We didn't know what really we were doing. My coach, Susie Grimes, at the time, she was amazing. She's been like Hall of Fame wheelchair basketball. And I think she said I think I looked it up, 17 like USA teams, ridiculous. But just being in the culture of wheelchair athletics and just wanted to get the most out of myself. I don't know that I could just say, there was one person that person was my mentor.
Yeah.
But in those early years, we did a lot of traveling, and we went from nobodies to national champs in 2 years. And it was a real steep learning curve.
Yeah.
And just trying to I'll give one more guy props. My local community college coach was a Greco-Roman, a bronze medalist in the 64 Rome Olympics, and he taught me how to train. He taught me how to lift weights and not lift too much, use bands. He tethered me. We would be on a basketball court, or we'd go to a hill, and he'd be behind me, able-bodied, with these bands, and wouldn't let me push too far, and he was strong as hell. And I was working out with him 3-4 days a week. And just so you know, I was a power chair user when I left the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. And 5 years later, I started using an everyday chair that I could actually push, because companies like Quadra and Quickie built lightweight chairs. Otherwise, we were in Ian Everson Jennings everyday 55-pound, manual chairs. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
When I look back on it. And so I went right back to school, and I was using a power chair. Yeah. I was working out some, but I didn't really have a sport yet. When I found out about rugby, it changed everything. I wanted to be an athlete again.
Yeah. So over the years, through coaching, through playing, through being a teacher, you've done a lot of mentoring in your life. You've coached a lot of people. You've talked to a lot of people. When you have teams, you're very present and visible and talking, and communicating isn't a problem for you whatsoever. So, like, What do you think? Usually, I like say this question for at the end of our interview, but I just think it's important, and especially with who I'm talking to right now. Like, what do you think our league can do better? What do you think our community can do better from that mentoring aspect? We talked about it at the beginning before we jumped on live, and that for a lot of people my age or younger, and I'm going to go into a gym and I'm trying to make USA, or I'm trying to, be whatever, and then I see this old guy next to me, and I'm going and I'm like, no, but I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, he's just slow, or he's just playing for rehab. Like, you don't know the story, and you don't think to ask, and you don't think to like, and so why is there that disconnect to where you could go over, have a 20-minute conversation and learn a lot in 20 minutes by just being able to kind of respect your elders in a sense, but also like just being able to talk to someone that's been through what, 30, 40 years almost of 40 years of being in a chair. Like, that's knowledge and experience that a lot of people can learn from.
Well, first of all, I'm turning 40 this year, November.
The big 4-0 in the chair.
Yeah, big 4-0 in the chair.
Yeah.
So, we did talk about this before we came on, and I'm just going to shoot the same answer.
Yeah.
There's no ESPN for wheelchair rugby. So there's no way to go and look at film unless you know somebody that has old film. So there's no way people can go, oh, that's what Cook looked like as a player, or, any number of people. I strongly recommend you seek out Steve Pate films. He was, he was the man. I mean, I remember Terry Vineyard said at one point, we all need a Steve Pate poster, because he was, talk about legends.
Did he really come into the gym with this chair on his shoulder?
Oh yeah. So he could walk. He wore these, boots with the braces.
Yeah.
And Steve, looks like Baby Huey. I mean, he'd have leaving the gym, the chair over one shoulder, and a 12 pack over the other.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, really.
That's the poster I want. And
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So we're still good friends and talk pretty frequently. But anyway, I really think the disconnect is, it's not like you can go look up Joe Montana film. I mean, we've all seen it. We watch anything on classic NFL films, and you can see it. It's not like you can just dial in classic rugby films. And I've been told by a few people, well, the game was so different then. You guys look slow. Well, yeah, we do. We were in our everyday chairs. Okay. And I'll tell you, you'd better have been tactically smart, though, because if you're all playing in your everyday chair and you don't have wings or a picker, you better be on your game in order to get a good pick in, and, get your caster in front of their rear wheel or what have you.
Or no chair position, so you don't go home looking like a taco.
Right. Look, I'm a history teacher, and I could talk history all day. History about sports, history about wheelchair rugby. But at some point, the disconnect is not everybody wants to hear it. They'd rather see and hear about what's present.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of people tell me, just shut up, enough of the stories. And that's fine. That's fine.
Sure.
I got it all right in here. And I'm one of these days, if I can motivate myself, going to write it in a book. But there's some amazing stories about individuals who overcame adversity or what have you, and are legends in our sport that no one knows about.
Yeah. And
pick.
Go ahead. I was going to say,
a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
And I got photo albums of them, but it's not really the same.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Speaking of history and knowing things And being a sports fan, this is your time to put on your 49ers hat,
Yep.
which I know you have right there.
Literally or figuratively?
I mean, put it on.
I was saving that for later, but okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I got a 49ers game for you real quick. I had Jeremy Hannaford on the other day, and he absolutely was pathetic with his Seahawks roster.
Ouch, Jeremy. Ouch.
I mean, he'll tell you he choked, man. He choked.
So I have a metaphor for you.
He pulled a Golden State in the against Cleveland.
I just dropped my Niners hat, just like they dropped the Super Bowl.
See,
all right, I'm ready.
All right, see,
what do you got?
Hannaford knows. Don't choke like he did.
Ouch, ouch.
All right,
boom.
There we go.
Let's go Niners.
Okay, their last Super Bowl win.
Yep. 95.
Yep. Steve Young was their quarterback, got the monkey off his back.
Yep.
All right. Offensive starters in that game.
Oh, are you kidding?
Offensive starters in that game.
That's all you got for me?
No. This is the first part. Offensive starters. You've got 30 seconds to name from QB down to right tackle who is starting in that game.
All right. QB Steve Young, Ricky Waters running back.
Yep.
William Floyd fullback.
Yep.
Let's go Jerry Rice, of course.
Yes,
John Taylor with the big catch in 90.
Yep.
The line, Randy Cross, maybe at center still.
That's Bart Oates at center.
Oh, shucks. New York Giant. I wanted to forget him. Who else?
Who's the tight end?
Oh, Brent Jones.
Yes, he was. You got the tackles?
It's going to be a little tougher. Let me think.
Man, no one
Farnhorst still around?
Nope.
Or is he gone by then? Okay.
Nope. 10 more seconds.
See, I'm a lineman in rugby, and I can't name the lineman in football. Can we go defense?
We'll go defense. That was pretty good, though. So, real quick, left tackle Steve Wallace. Left guard was Jesse Sapolu.
Oh, Jesse Sapolu. Stud.
Right guard was Derek Deese, and right tackle was Harris Barton. But man, you were, woo! I mean, you definitely beat the Seahawks there. That's for sure. Defensive starters.
The Niners beat the Seahawks all the time. It's okay.
Okay. Defensive starters.
Okay. Merton Hanks corner.
That was my favorite player in that era because his neck was about 15 feet long. He was just back there doing the Mert Hanks.
Remember the chick?
Yeah.
The chicken.
After an interception, it's like, man.
So wait, in 95, you were watching football? You were eight years old?
In 90, I was 10. And I was 10, and the Packers 49ers were a huge rival.
Gotcha.
In the play.
Right,
so anyway,
so the badass pass rusher was
Merton
Charles Haley.
Yep.
And he was the deal. Unfortunately, they let him go, and he became a Cowboy.
Yes.
All right. Who else we had on that team? I think Matt Millen was still a Niner. I could be wrong.
He's not a starter.
Yeah. Okay. They had the guy from New Orleans, another stud pass rusher. Can't think of his name right now. He wore number 57. Can't think of his name though. Ronnie was gone.
Yep. You're missing one of the best linebackers to play the game.
Okay, hold up. That's linebackers. Give me a number.
I don't have a number, but he had.
You know who's enjoying this right now is Jeremy.
Yeah, come on, Ken Norton Jr. And then Dana Stubblefield. You missed Dana.
Kenny Norton Jr.
You missed Dana Stubblefield.
Dana Stubblefield stud.
He had
Bryant Young.
Young was on there. Yep, and he had such a big head that they had to give him like two helmets. He had like a helmet extension. Dana Stubblefield.
No, you know what that was about? He had concussions. He had concussions, and he had like this helmet that fit on top of his helmet.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, are we done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Okay. Mention saying something.
I exited it on you, man. We're
Joe,
definitely
did we lose you?
no, we're good. I'm back on.
What's Mention
I'm
saying?
back.
I can't read it.
Benj, he was saying I can only name one line from their last championship.
That's because they sucked.
Oh, the poor lines. Oh man. All right. So as we get kind of wrapped up here, do you think like how long do you want to play? You're saying you're coming up on 40 years in a chair. You've been playing this game a long time. I mean, how important though is it for your health, mentally, physically, to stay involved?
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Well, my elite playing days are long gone, and I still have passion for the game. I honestly, Joe, I didn't want to be a coach. Coaching is way too difficult. I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
But, by default, I was the guy that became the coach because we had to have a coach. And we talked a little bit about this in other shows you've had. Coaching and playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really, really tough. I want to play until my shoulders fall off. How's that? It's just, I would like to play if it makes sense. It's a team game, and if I'm more valuable on the sideline, then that's where I should be. But I'd like to play, like last year we brought in Matt Lewis and 3.5, and suddenly there was a lineup that was a damn good lineup with me.
Oh,
and
man.
So I went out of my way to find a chair that worked and get back in shape. I donated my chair in Argentina like 4 years ago, so I didn't have a chair.
Yeah.
And I found one that I used to use. It was 12 years old. And
dusted that bad boy off.
Once again,
thank
you, Barry Ewing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd like to play forever. That's why I wore number 8. If you turn it sideways, it means forever.
Ooh, a little infinity action. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I like that. What's your favorite memory of wheelchair rugby? Man, we should
like glory days memory. What do you mean?
Yeah, give me a glory days memory.
All right. This one's easy. You always remember your first, right? When we won our first championship, Quadzilla 1990. We took down the
starting lineup
big
was 2.
Brian Hansen 3.5, Al Seals 2.0. No, we were 3-2-1 there. Brian Hansen 3.0, Al Seals, Freddie Williams 2.0s, and me. And we were playing against Minnesota. They had won the national championship the year before. They were good. They were, deep, and we played 4 guys. They played probably 6 or 7. And they were just flat out good and experienced. And we beat them in the last 7 seconds of the game. And that launched us into the championship game. And it was relatively easy next to beating them. So your first moments of, wow, we kind of just did something there. That was really cool. And we scored the winning goal on my corner against somebody who I had kind of an adversarial relationship with. But when all that happens and you win a national championship, you remember that forever. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
I will say this though, Joe, the thing I'm most proud of in rugby, I'm the slowest guy in the Hall of Fame.
That is, they should put that on your block instead of what they have. I'm not sure what they have on there, but yeah.
It just says 0.5 or something.
Yeah. Slowest guy in this hall. That's awesome. Well, man, hey, it's been an honor to talk to you. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the tips. You've been, maybe one last thing, tips. That is. Yeah,
I got a big one.
Tips for athletes that are either starting out their lives in a wheelchair or starting their careers trying to get the USA. But I mean, you've been doing it for 4 decades.
Okay. Here's my tip. Take care of your shoulders. Take care of your shoulders. And the best way to do that is don't lift a lot of heavy weights. I'm specifically going to speak this to low pointers. I still work out. I use this thing called the VitaGlide, work on the core, but I never lift, believe it or not, over 3 pounds ever. Lots and lots of reps. Work on explosiveness, so you can go point A to point B fast, but and in your endurance, of course. But like lifting heavy weights, I haven't lifted heavy weights in 30 years, and my shoulders are still good.
Longevity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. For you guys, check out usawr.org. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Friday, we've got a special 4th of July weekend with Ray Henniger, who's a USAWR athlete and military veteran. So I'm super excited to talk to Ray, who's just a great guy. So we'll see you guys Friday back at 11 a.m. And you guys all have a great week. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chris.
Stay clean and healthy. All right, guys. Take care.